Hello, sports fans. My name is Scott.
And I'm Ash, and this is the Extra Point Podcast, where we bring you sports from a generational perspective.
A man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Swing and fly ball. Deep right. Are you kidding me?
And there's the 2-2. He got it! 34 years! What?
Sports fans, I got bad news for you. We are going to have to go on hiatus until December 3rd, first Sunday in December. My partner Ashby, he is involved in the band in this football season.
And it is very, very chaotic. We have a lot of stuff that we have to do, and it's a big time commitment. So, thank you guys for sticking with us and waiting this long. And I hope that you guys can understand why we are taking this break. But don't worry, we will be back.
December 3rd, first Sunday in December, and we're going to be talking football at that point.
Yep. So since we are going on hiatus, we thought that it would be a good idea to go over our predictions for the MLB playoffs that we made just a little over a month ago. So that is what we are going to do now.
And we hit and missed. Currently, in the American League, the following teams are in the playoffs, but this is probably going to change over the next 4 weeks.
For sure.
You've got Baltimore is leading the Eastern Division. Tampa Bay is in as a wild card. Minnesota looks to be the team coming out of the Central Division. And in the West, it's a tight race between Texas and Houston. Currently, Texas is in the division lead. Houston is right behind them and in the playoffs. And frankly, a surprise, Seattle.
Yeah. And so for the National League in the East, it is Atlanta and Philadelphia. In the Central, it is Milwaukee and the Chicago Cubs. And in the NL West, it is the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants.
To me, there are two surprises coming out of this right now. I wasn't expecting San Francisco to pick it up like they did.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia as well. Philadelphia sort of scares me in the playoffs. They've got talent on that squad, and they're the ones that knocked Atlanta out of the playoffs last year.
Right, so definitely going to be keeping a close eye on that, and we will see what happens once we do come back. And now we're going to be going over our predictions that we made to see how closely we got to them.
In the American League, the division that we really didn't get right was the Eastern Division. Me and Ashby both had Tampa Bay winning the division, with Baltimore and New York coming out as wild card teams. Currently, right now, who's winning the division in the East?
Baltimore.
Tampa Bay is solid as a wild card now, but they've fallen off a little bit, primarily because of injuries. The team that was a real disappointment
Was the New York Yankees.
New York Yankees. They have fallen on hard times. It was very pleasant seeing them get swept last weekend by the Braves, giving them a losing record for the season to this point.
Definitely upset everyone. Continue, I guess.
In the Central Division, we both had Minnesota, and looks like Minnesota's coming out of that division. No surprises there. In the West, we both had Texas winning the division, and Texas is currently in first place. We both had Houston coming out of the division as a wild card, but what we did not have was Seattle. What's the biggest surprise there for you, Ashby?
Just the fact that Seattle, when we made our predictions a little over a month ago, we didn't look at Seattle at all. We went over some of their stats, and it kind of upset us. And it's really a surprise that they are in this position right now, because we did not think that they would be there at all.
No, Seattle's a big surprise there. But, overall, we got 5 out of the 6 teams correct to this point, so I feel sort of good about that.
Right. And now looking at our National League predictions for the NL East, we both had Atlanta and spot on. Atlanta's.
That was the easiest.
I know,
prediction
yeah,
there was.
they're number one.
Yeah.
And we also had, if I'm reading that correctly, Miami.
Miami can still make the playoffs as a wild card. I think they're only 2 games behind the last wild card spot, but
we didn't expect Philly to get that spot.
No.
So that's a surprise.
But in hindsight, we should have seen it because Miami, remember, they had a negative run differential.
Right. When we first made that video about our predictions, they had a negative run differential, and I remember us mentioning how surprising it was because they were doing really well, and that was the only thing that was different than some of the other teams. But still surprised that Philadelphia came out, especially from the stats that they were putting up when we made that video. So we both have the same predictions for the NL East. In the NL Central, our predictions kind of differ. They kind of swapped around. For my prediction, I predicted Milwaukee coming out on top, and spot on. They are number 1, and Cincinnati ending up a wild card. However,
I went a little bit different. I had Cincinnati winning the Central with Milwaukee coming out as a wild card. Currently, Milwaukee is leading the division, and the Chicago Cubs are the wild card team.
So, did I accidentally say Cincinnati? Oh, no. Oh, no, I was right. Sorry about that.
We're good. We're good.
So, and then the NL West, and that is where the biggest disappointment comes in. For my prediction, I had the Arizona Diamondbacks being the number 1 spot, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. You've swapped them around again. You had the Los Angeles Dodgers coming out on top in Arizona.
I feel good about the LA Dodgers prediction, but Arizona has fallen apart here.
I know that it was a surprise to me because they were doing really, really well. They were number 1 when we put up the video, and they were number 1 for a while, and then everything just fell apart.
After the All-Star break, they came out and they were not doing well after the All-Star break.
So that's a big disappointment. So
this concludes the podcast, I guess, until we see every one of y'all December 3rd. Make certain to join us.
So go ahead and mark your calendars. Stay safe, and we will see you.
And be sure to tap that like button.
Tap that like button and subscribe, and we will see you December 3rd.